situation in this industry. So a lot of times banks would not touch you if you do not have the proper government documentation, right? So to counter this, and
Hey, folks, welcome back to the Hidden Day. We have some fascinating new information to share with you. But before we bring information to everybody, we always like to vet it out. So I found someone who actually has success in a process that we're going to call the W-4 process. She goes by Hollywood because her name's Holly. So, Holly, welcome to the show.
Hi.
Yeah. So I want to introduce you to everybody. I want to you basically give you the floor on what to do. I really don't know much about this W-4 process other than I know some people who have had some success, and including you, which has some tremendous success. We want to know what it can do for people. Will it tie us back in with the government? Because some of us are actually authenticated and we don't pay taxes as a corporation citizen would. So would that bring us back into the system? And what does this process do for us, and how can it benefit us? So I want to give you the floor. Everybody say hi to Holly.
Hi.
Yeah. So tell us, how did you get started in this process, and what led you to it?
God.
Almighty God. That's a good start.
That's it.
Okay. And did he lead you for a particular reason? Were you fighting some unjustness? Were you just looking to get your money back that they stole unjustly? What was your mindset?
I didn't I just got in God brought me into my coach's life and it
Okay.
took off from there.
Okay. So he just opened your eyes and said, "Hey, Holly, I want you to take a look at this." And then because you're
Well, I think there was some vetting involved. I felt like I was more I had to be somebody that could be coachable.
Mhm.
So it had to be I felt like there was like a selection there. It's not for everybody. So I was able to learn. It took time and growing pains, but we made progress and we made it through.
Nice. Yeah. Who doesn't love
Yeah.
growing pains?
Yeah.
And you have successfully used it. Some of the main questions we're going to get is, does this tie me back into the Babylon system if I am free from it?
It's not about you. It's never been about you and it's never going to be about you. It's about the US person. It's about that social security account, period.
Okay, what for lack of a better term, we'll call the straw man, right?
Well, it's an account.
Yeah. Oh, an account. Okay, that's even better because
Yeah.
it is indeed an account. That's a
Yeah.
really good way to put it. Okay,
Hmm.
so right off the bat, we've people hear different things and are like, and they hear about sovereign citizens who have gone to jail by trying to, dupe the government and all this other stuff. Does this process put us in any danger of trying to finagle the government, if you would?
No,
Okay.
we're just reporting. We have three duties to the IRS: order, make orders or order forms, keep records, and report. So we've
Okay.
all been ordering forms and keeping records, but now we are like record hoarders. Like, what do we do with all these records? We're not supposed to be hoarding the records anymore, guys. We can ship them off and do our reporting duty and be done.
Okay. So we're just reporting all of this information. Now, I did hear you talk about these forms. Some people think they're government forms, but you have a different opinion on these forms, don't you?
Well, I feel like it's free. So if it's free, it must be mine.
Hmm. Yeah, I've heard that. A lot of people say, hey, these forms are ours and we can actually make up our own. I know there's some people actually made up their own forms and have used them successfully. And I see that at some point you change a couple things on a form or two as well. And those have been successful, correct?
Oh, sure. Yeah. We're just taking out portions that literally don't apply and replacing it with way more important information.
Oh, okay. Okay. That is fabulous. That makes me, and I'm sure some of you guys out there, much more comfortable as well. So let's start from the beginning. If I'm new to this whole thing and I'm just tired of people taking advantage of, me in whatever capacity, the account, the person, the straw man, they're just taking advantage of us and they're using the money for things that I wouldn't necessarily agree with. Where do I start? Tell me about this W-4 process. What does it mean to me and how can we use it to our benefit?
Well, it initially starts with the social security number,
Hmm.
which is an account. So then we use that account in commerce to enter into contracts, or if we have an interest in having power, we use the social security number. If we have an interest in having a car, anything that we have an interest in is a W-4 reportable event. So that's kind of where it starts.
Okay, so if we're part and party, when you say interest, that's what you mean by that?
If we have interest in any service out here and that service requires some sort of contract or submission of our information, it could just be the driver's license, like, say, for example, Walmart. Sam's Club. You can get a Sam's Club membership. You're not giving them the social security number or the card. However, you do have to produce the driver's license, which we all know links back to the social.
Hmm.
So it's basically everything that we have an interest in is a W-4 reportable event.
Wow, that's quite fascinating. So even if I like applied for a job and they need my social, I would have interest in that and I could report that as a W-4 event. And we'll get into the details of that, but that would be included in this?
Yeah, interest in school, interest in anything.
Wow. So that goes right in along when we authenticate, we talk about registration and everything you have to do to register. You're getting a license to drive, a license to gun, a license for this, a license to hunt and fish, and blah, blah, blah. And we're of the opinion that the government shouldn't be registering anything. And so you're saying when they do, we can actually report that as a W-4 event, if you would.
Right. Hmm.
That is
Exactly.
really amazing, Holly. So, right out of the gate, what would be the first thing you might do a W-4 process on?
I would start with my credit report.
Okay. And you can actually W-4 the credit report, or that's where you start to look for everything that you may have interest in.
would W4 everything on the credit report because it's a safe it's a safety zone. There's no risk there. There's nothing to lose. Plus you're going to be able to see the results, and you're going to be able to show the results to your family or friends, and you're going to be able to get more people that you care about on board to do this.
Okay. And we'll get into the details and step by step on subsequent shows. Right now, we're going to get an idea of what we can do. So when we do a W-4 process, what would be the end result of it? Do we get money back? Do they send us stuff? Do we get credits? Do they just stop bothering us? What's the deal?
We're seeing all of the above.
Really?
Everyone is not the same, but we're seeing all of the above.
Okay. So you personally have had success in all of those things?
Let's see. As far as success, I had returns go to the account, direct wire transfer back from the corporation to the account. And then so that was, my box was alphabetically in order from A to Z, and Z was at the top. So W got refunded first, and I just got a check for a S corporation that started with S. So they're about at S now.
So it sounds to me like you did a whole bunch if you got them alphabetized. How amazing is that?
Yeah, they were alphabetized.
Because I do know personally one young lady who actually had a court case terminated, and we can actually talk to her at one point because of this W-4 process. But you're saying you actually got refunds, and I've heard of people getting credits on bills and things too. That would be a possibility?
Yes, credits on bills or the entire past due amount wiped down, or maybe like one lady reported going from a $4,000 bill down to like $80.
Okay. Well, that's significant. Okay, so this isn't just, this isn't just, pie in the sky, I hope this works kind of thing. This is practical, and it's actually working. So that's phenomenal. I wanted to talk about, what should people do to actually get started in this, as far as like maybe a mindset to wrap your head around it? Is there anything you need to do first? I mean, other than get your credit report, like you said. Well, how would they find that? And then what kind of mindset should they have going forward?
Well, they have to know that they're the source of the credit.
Okay.
Both sides of the credit, the pluses and the minuses. So the bill plus the payment, that's all your credit. So that helps, having that understanding.
Okay, so let me explain that to you folks. We think that when we go to the bank and get a loan for either a car or a credit card or anything like that, we think that the bank is loaning us their money. They're not. They're taking your money and loaning it to you and then wanting you to pay them back. Okay, that's the gist of it. And there's some more nefarious things going on behind that as well. But let's start with that. Wrap your head around that. So you are the creditor, is what Holly is saying. In other words, if you weren't there, they wouldn't be able to loan you that money, which is kind of weird, but that's the truth of it all. So since they're using you that, Holly, is it safe to say they would consider you an employee, and that's why the W-4 process would apply?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So
that's exactly right. I would even take it a step. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, they're considering you an employee, and possibly even worse, and pretending to be you.
Oh, really? So it's a case of stolen identity as well in the most nefarious cases. Allegedly.
You broke up.
Oh, sorry. So they're in the most nefarious cases. They're even basically doing stolen identity.
Yes.
Okay. Allegedly. We can't be accusing people. So allegedly. This is quite fascinating, where first, folks, wrap your mind around that, whereas they're doing things with your money that they didn't tell you about. And all we're doing is reporting it to the IRS, which is also doing things that with your money that you don't necessarily want. But being a reporting agent for them, they're going to go ahead and balance the books, if you would, and then you'll be the recipient of any of that balancing that goes on, because they are indeed using your social security number, your account, to do these things. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. So that's fascinating. I hope you guys can really grasp that idea. And what we're going to do is start on the next show, and we're going to do the very first things to do, like what forms to get, and pick maybe one of the examples that we can use, and then go forward with that. So Holly, we're really excited to learn these things. We're super excited that you'll be able to be on the show. And I just wanted to make sure and confirm to everybody that we're not re-registering back into the system. We are simply becoming a reporting agent to the IRS. And you'll see, as some of the paperwork is filled out, how that will actually play out and how that would actually benefit you. Do you have anything further to say on our introduction, Holly?
As far as the beginning step, there was a two-part question in your last question, and I didn't get to answer the first part.
Okay.
As far as the beginning step, unless you have an immediate need like housing or children, or some sort of emergency, I would jump straight into the credit reports. You guys get your credit reports ready and come back next time.
Awesome. Okay, so that's your homework for today, folks. Go figure out how to get your credit report. There's a whole bunch of people. Just search it. I hate to use that G word, but search it on something else. Find out how to get your credit report, and we'll see you on the next show. So thank you for coming on, Holly, and you have a blessed day.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, listen up, folks. Today, this video is entitled, Why You Need to Do Your W-4 Sandwiches. Okay. The reason you need to do a W-4 on just about everybody that you've done business with you can think of. What I mean by done business with is they require your social security number or your driver's license number or so forth, such and so forth. Yeah. I would even say the DMV, bank accounts. Anyone that uses here's why. Anyone that uses your social security number is, in fact, according to the IRS, in a employer-employee relationship with you. It's your public duty and public obligation to assess your taxes. A W-4 is a way of doing that. Now, you could do the accounting for this form yourself, or you could simply let them do it for you. It does not matter, whatever you feel comfortable with at whatever stage. Here's the thing. It's not like you can only do it once. But assess your tax and get your credits. These credits are usable for you. Right? So whatever impoverished situations we might be in, or hard times, or all of this stuff is really unnecessary, because there are several ways to access your credits. There's several ways to access your accounts. But the point of this channel is to take the people, the beginners who are just coming in, and be able to walk them all the way through the entire what's known as the status correction process. Right? Most groups have been around for a little while, and to go all the way back and slow down, a lot of people find a lot of people feel that to go back and all the way to slow down for them, they're not really getting what they need step by step or proper understanding. So what we want to do here is go with each thing, why you need to do this, why you need to do the next step, all the way through into the end. And then we'll have formatted some content, some videos, so that as each new beginner comes on, they can find this page and they can go along step by step. So I say that to say is, I don't want to give you guys too much at once in these videos. I want you to digest the crumbs, right? And any comments that you leave, I absolutely will respond to every last one of them. So if you have questions, if you are past these points and would like, some more in-depth things answered or help with, we don't charge nothing over here. It's not what this is. So you don't have to worry about that. But I would say get on these W-4s. You don't have to wait until you do it, till you have any of the status correction process done. This is something that you can do now. Also, I'll be making a video about the 1099 process, where I'll get maybe a little more in depth. This W-4 process is so simple that I really don't need to. I'm just urging that you go ahead on and assess your tax and get your credits due back. So, it's far more than enough videos out here on the W-4 sandwich that if you can't read this form and fill it out, that they can walk you through it already.
I was looking for a way to make some extra money. I saw this video of a guy talking about how much money he made on DoorDash. So I figured I'd give it a shot. And I'm so glad I did. Getting started is super easy.
Thanks to DoorDash, I'm my own boss.
I get to make my own schedule, have flexible.
All right, what's up again? Today I'm going to explain, I'm going to try to break down the best I can the assumed name. And the example I like to use is a Monopoly board. Now, if this is the game of Monopoly, let's assume that authenticating a birth certificate is claiming your piece, right? Now, the first thing you gotta do when you play Monopoly is you gotta pick a piece. You gonna be the hat, the dog, the cannon, the car, the money bag, but you need a piece in order to play the game, right? Now, registering the assumed name would be letting the public know who is utilizing that piece that's on the board, because all anyone sees is the piece, but they have the right to know who they're doing business with or who's operating that piece, that hat, that cannon, that dog, that money bag, that car. You understand? So now look at it this way. You can't play the game without a piece, nor can a piece play the game without a player. So essentially, without registering that fictitious name, assumed name, DBA, or trade name, whatever it's called in your state, you are a piece without a player on the board. And without an authenticated birth certificate, you have no piece on the board at all. So let's look at, I'm from PA, so I'm from Philly. So we look at what PA says scope. Okay, look at voluntary registration. Any one or more entities may elect to register a fictitious name under this chapter for the purpose of establishing a public record of their relationship to any business or other activity carried on under or through such fictitious name. The fictitious name creates a division between you and the entity, between you and the name, between peace and peace holder. Back to the Monopoly reference. Or peace user. Right? Hat or hat user. Because there is a distinction. So it needs to be clear for the public record. I did want to give you guys a update on the W4, the next W4 video that's coming out. I will be uploading in the next day or two at the latest. I put together a nice little package. We're going to be getting into the accounting and showing everybody how to do their accounting themselves. So what I've been finding is that unbelievably, the people who do their accounting are getting results back faster than the ones that are just allowing the IRS to do it. And this is in my own circle I'm witnessing. So I'm going to put out a video to show you how to do your accounting and using the accrual method. And hopefully we get you guys some credits back even sooner. Other than that, I hope I gave a good enough breakdown, just trying to simplify it as much as possible of the assumed name. But you guys will let me know. Oh yeah. Like, comment, and subscribe. Why you need to authenticate your birth certificate. And here's why. Because you have no rights that you in law can practice until you do. And here's the proof. Now, I could read this run-on little paragraph to you, and for most people, it won't make any sense. So I just break it down, like I said, in plain English so we can get why we need to do it, right? The registrar of titles. What is a registrar? A recorder, right? An official recorder. So the official recorder is authorized to receive your birth certificate for registration. And as long as you attach an affidavit along with that birth certificate stating that you are the party named in that certificate and that you're familiar with the facts recited, meaning the birth certificate is a bond, is an instrument, and so forth and so on, that the registrar of titles or the official recorder shall treat you or said register owner as having attained the age of majority after your 18th birthday. Now, the important thing to look at in this is the word majority, right? So let's go see what majority means. The legal definition of majority. Full age, the age at which by law a person is entitled to the management of his own affairs and to the enjoyment of civic rights, the opposite of minority. Now let's look at that. The age at which by law a person is entitled to the management of his/her own affairs and to the enjoyment of civic rights. Now let's look at this. So if you are not deemed of the age of majority by law, you are not entitled to the management of your own affairs or to the enjoyment of civic rights. Now, what is the word civic? Of or relating to anything civil, right? So let's find out what civil means. Civil means, in reference to law, civil is used primarily as a descriptive term to denote conflicts between private parties. Private. Let's pay attention to that. Now let's go back. The enjoyment of civic rights. So if according to law you are not deemed to have reached the age of majority, that makes you the opposite of majority, which is minority. And a minority cannot by law, does not by law have any entitlement to the management of his or her own affairs, and by law may not enjoy civil rights or private rights. This is the reason why you need to do it. In plain English, you have no rights. So, go get your birth certificate authenticated. Start there. And come back when you need more made. I'll have more videos I'm putting out. We're going to make each step of the status correction simple. We're going to put it in as plain English as possible so that you actually understanding and grasping each step of what you're doing and why you need to.
I've met hundreds and hundreds of Amazon sellers that have failed. If you're trying to start an Amazon business right now, chances are you're doing it wrong. Give me 90 seconds to show you the right.
Why you need to authenticate your birth certificate. And here's why. Because you have no rights that you in law can practice until.
And so I tell people all the time, do you want 1 million followers or do you?
Why you need to authenticate your birth certificate. And each step of what you're doing and why you need to. Why you need to authenticate your birth certificate. And here's why. Because you have in each step of what you're doing and why you need to.
I've met hundreds and hundreds of Amazon sellers that have failed. If you're trying to start an Amazon business,
why you need to authenticate your birth certificate. And here's why. You're doing and why you need to.
Hey folks, welcome back to The Hidden Day. We have some fascinating new information to share with you. But before we bring information to everybody, we always like to vet it out. That G word. Hey folks, welcome back to The Hidden Day. We have some fascinating new information to share with you. But before we bring information to everybody, we always like to vet it out. So I found someone who actually has success in a process that we're going to call the W-4 process. She goes by Hollywood because her name's Holly. So Holly, welcome to the show.
Hi.
Yeah. So I want to introduce you to everybody. I want to basically give you the floor on what to do. I really don't know much about this W-4 process other than I know some people who have had some success, and including you, which has some tremendous success. We want to know what it can do for people. Will it tie us back in with the government? You know, because some of us are actually authenticated and we don't pay taxes as a corporation citizen would. So would that bring us back into the system? And what does this process do for us? And how can it benefit us? So I want to give you the floor. Everybody say